There is no implausibility about the resurrection. Miracles don't, it only means Jesus wouldn't be raised by natural causes, but no one's saying Jesus was raised by natural causes. Ehrman has two major arguments. He will go after the Gospels and say, you know, they're filled with errors, contradictions. We don't know who wrote them. They were written too long after the events they purport to describe. They're biased authors, things like this. But I think deep down inside he knows that these really aren't good objections, and they are pretty easily answerable. I'm dealing with that this weekend. But then he says, but the greatest objection to the resurrection is that if the resurrection, if it occurred, it was a miracle, and that involves God, and that's beyond the purview of historians, and a miracle by its very definition is the least probable explanation. Historians must take and choose the most probable explanation, and therefore a historian could never show that Jesus rose from the dead. So you can go ahead and believe it by faith if you want, but you can't prove it historically, because historians have to take the most probable explanation.
So how do you answer that?
Oh, I'd say, well, you misunderstand probability, an egregious error there. Because, like, for example, he says, suppose you take 6 billion people, 7 billion people on the earth, and tell them to walk across a lukewarm swimming pool, they'll all sink. So what are the chances that Jesus would walk on a lukewarm, across the water? 1 in 7 billion. No, that's wrong. That's what the mistake you're making here with the resurrection. Because now my son will turn 18 in a couple months. But let's just say he's 3, and say you've walked 7 billion people across the swimming pool, they've all sank, and I tell my son, Zach, it's your turn, go ahead and do it. I can't do it, Dad. Well, sure you can, go ahead. 7 billion people couldn't do it, what makes you think I can? Give me your hands. What? Give me your hands. So I take his hands, and I put him over the water, and I hold his weight up, and he walks on water as I walk along the side of the pool. You say, well, wait a minute, Mike, that's cheating, because you were an external agent that assisted him. Exactly. So 7 billion people dying and staying dead only proves that dead critters stay dead apart from the intervention of God. But if God exists and wants to raise Jesus, well, then the probability is 100%.
Yeah.
So there is no implausibility about the resurrection. Miracles don't, it only means Jesus wouldn't be raised by natural causes, but no one's saying Jesus was raised by natural causes. So your whole thing about probability is misinformed.
And
misguided.
we've got evidence and arguments from various disciplines pointing to the existence of God. Cosmology, physics, biochemistry, various strands of evidence that point that God does exist. And you say, if God exists, who's to say he couldn't raise Jesus from the dead?